you inspired? Are you ready to be entertained? It is Welsh Radio, your preferred wholesome radio station.
It's like we met in the course of of this job.
Okay.
Yeah. As I said, she was with the OGPC. From the outset.
Okay.
When the station started, and I used to work in Lagos then, and I also came to Ibadan, every week, as part of my routine, So at that time there was no express route. So you see that you went through Shagamu, Ikorodu, Shagamu, Jabode to Ibadan. And I used to go to OGPC, as part of my work. What I have to do, I have to drop some records. When we had a new release, I would drop some records at the stations,
Okay.
But apart from that, we also had programs that we were sponsoring on stations,
Okay.
My company there. So I was in charge of those programs. So I had to go to those stations to drop the tapes, and there was no CD, there was no what we had then was reel to reel, and so we have to produce in Lagos and drop either jingles or the programs themselves. Then I had to go to those stations. So she was in OGPC, and I was coming to Ibadan after finishing at OGPC. I picked a friend, a colleague, one Mr. Toyi Oladimeji.
Okay.
I remember very well. So I picked him at the station, and I had to drop him. I had a Volkswagen Beetle then, So I picked my friend. So we were coming out of, we were getting to Lafenwa, this popular place.
Yes, Lafenwa.
Lafenwa. So she was living close to Lafenwa then.
Okay.
So as well, but because she and Toye Oladimeji were colleagues in the same OGPC.
Okay.
So we saw her, and she was coming from the market, and Toye they greeted. I didn't know her then, but Toye said they greeted, and she said she was going to late. She would be going to Ibadan later, and Toye told him that I told her that my friend is going to Ibadan. Can he have you with him? So, and that was it. That was how we started. So I gave her a ride to Ibadan.
Okay.
And dropped her at Akwata. To be honest, we don't.
Okay.
But we do note it that February 14 is Valentine's Day.
Okay.
We don't have any special way between us.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it's not because we don't love to. One, the nature of our business, well, maybe it doesn't really give time for that.
Okay.
But we believe that the way we live, you understand, the way we live, the way we do things, it's like our Valentine is every day.
Just like Daddy said, I think Valentine should be a daily thing.
Okay.
Although there's nothing wrong in having a special day for love and all this and all that, but if we all inculcate in us the attribute of being loving, especially to fellow human beings, whether you know the person or not, if you love that person, you won't want to hurt him, and you'll be more caring, you'll be more loving, and the society will be a better place. If we all decide to love one another, and let it be on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be on Valentine's Day alone. The wife will love the husband will love the wife, and even the entire society. Those who are up there, who are leading the affairs of the nation, they must love We the followers and everyone living in the nation. So it should be, and to me, God Himself is love. He created us and He loved us. Why can't we love fellow human beings? He won't want to hurt people. I believe it should be a daily thing. But after February 14, people should please put it in their heart. Love your fellow, love your neighbor. It doesn't cost you anything. When you see people who are in need, you don't have to think twice before you do it. If you see people who don't have, and you have just a little excess, then give it to them. Share your love. And I think it will be a better society for everyone. I would say that both of us, we are very caring.
Okay.
We are loving.
Okay.
Because a lot of children have passed through us who are not our biological children, especially in the industry. God has used him, and even when we arrived in Ibadan, we had the first recording studio in Ibadan.
Okay.
So through the studio, a lot of mass comm students were trained, and then a lot of young radio broadcasters, many of them do come to the studio, and he had time to train them, and a lot of them are all over the stations now. And then both of us, we love having people around.
Okay.
And Daddy is such that he never believes that there's something you can't achieve. So when people come to him, he encourages them, tells them, okay, let's start this way, let's start that way, and he's always ready to help. And I picked that from him. I made sure that when people are around, we make our home, inviting, and we make sure we receive them well. And even up till today, many of them, some are even abroad, and we still communicate with them. He's interested in them doing well, not only his children.
Okay.
So, and they're all doing fine. Well, I only know that both of us love music.
Okay.
And we spend quality time listening to good music, especially gospel music.
Okay.
And he has been in the music industry for several years. So our house is filled with a lot of these old tunes, these old records of those days.
Okay.
So at times you will now have to look for this old equipment, the turntable kind of thing,
Okay.
to play some of the records, because they are old things. But that's what we do mainly, listening to music together. Well, I feel most grateful for life. I feel most grateful for a happy family.
Okay.
I feel most grateful for the little businesses that we've had the opportunity to do.
Okay.
Like at least about 20 years ago, to God's glory, we started here and there cable television in Ibadan several years ago. Although after a while we had to should go off air, but we still hope that someday we'll be back on air.
Of course, in our own case, it's like we are together in the same professions.
Okay.
In the same profession, or even professions, yes. And so is what I do, she does. You understand? And so we have a common problem, so to say. The children are there, the home is there, and our jobs are also there. But because our jobs are related, we are able to we've been doing things together for years.
Okay.
You understand? And that has to a large extent helped us, to manage our home, to balance. You understand? And our children also grew up into that regime to understand to understand us, and they picked a lot from what we did.
Okay.
You understand? Even up to today, what they do, are things that picked from us. You understand? So we didn't find it difficult because it's not as if we were working. Well, at the initial stage, yeah, we worked at different places, but that was not for too long. You understand?
All right.
We've been together in business for many years now, and it's for about 40 years. You understand?
Wow.
We've been together. Okay, let's say for 35 years.
Okay.
We've been working together.
Not really, except that just like he said, when we have to go to pick the children at the school, we stay off work. We go to their school, pick them, take them home. But in our days, we had these housemaids and all that. But we make sure we spend quality time with them, and then monitor the homework and all that. And then we go back to the office. There was time we had our office at Ring Road, and we're living at Malifalafia. So, but most of the time, we'll go back to the office, maybe when the children are in bed. There are times we have to do that. When they are in bed, we rush down to the office, spend some hours, and then come back home to prepare them for school the next day. But God helped us, we were able to manage that effectively.
What you cannot live without. You can't live without me. I know. Let me say this. My wife prays a lot, so I mean she prays a lot, and so I know she can't do without praying.
Okay.
She prays a lot.
All right. So what can't you do without?
Well, I think it's the best way to live. Whatever you do, you just have to communicate with God. He guides us, He directs us, and whatever we want to do, we commit into His hands, and then He gives us a leading when we want to do anything. And if you know that you have a God who is very caring, who answers your prayer, why don't you stick to that God? Make sure you communicate with Him often.
Okay.
It's the same for both of us. He can't live without seeing me around. Times when I have to travel, I know how many times I receive calls. When are you coming back? When are you? I say, well, this is the only time I have to rest, and I want to stay away from home. So since one has been together for several years, it's not easy. When he's not around, when he travels, of course, the house will look empty. And when I'm not around too, I'm not sure he can even cook that much. Probably he will continue to eat bread and noodles. Yeah, maybe. Yam.
Yeah.
I think yam is one of the easiest foods.
Only yam.
And then dodo. I can find it. I can cook rice too.
Okay. And you can boil you can boil water for tea.
Yeah, I must. Yes, of course. I drink tea every day. I must do that.
You know, boil water.
I can boil water for tea. Yes, I do that myself anyway. She makes everything out for us now. I don't think the best. Well, I don't know. Well, rice.
Okay.
Yes.
That's tea.
Rice and rice, yam. Where she cooks everything we eat now, and she does it well.
Okay.
So.
Of course, just like every other marriage, we all hope it will be smooth sailing the way you started, but there are times when things are not the way you think, and then in-laws will come in from both sides and all that. With endurance, one would overcome. And of course, now that one is older, no in-law can come and do any shakara. I'm already a mother in the house.
Yeah, right.
But in those days, in the early stages of marriage, you must learn how to receive them. And you know what this one wants and that one wants. I remember when in the early days of marriage, I had one of my mother-in-laws, when she comes around and you prepare tea in a small teacup, she will tell you, no, please, buy me one abonla. And since I knew that Mama likes the big bowl, so when she comes, I make sure that Mama doesn't want this teacup, bowl kind of thing. I make sure I get her a very big bowl and make the tea that she really loves, and then bread and egg. But
it's difficult to. I mean, would I say that I was not expecting that we would quarrel? No. Or that everything would go smoothly? No. So there was nothing about what we have experienced in our marriage that I wasn't expecting, that I didn't expect this time. I think God has helped us tremendously, to manage ourselves. So I can't say that there was anything that we experiencing now that I didn't expect. I must say that there's nothing. Probably I don't have a girl.
Okay.
And it wasn't as if I was expecting a girl and I didn't get the girl. I was not expecting a girl. I later realized I didn't think well. I should have asked God for one girl, So, but then I wanted boys. We like she said, we used to quarrel, and despite that, we've been together for 39 years.
Okay.
So that couples quarrel does not mean that they can't live together. And you find that even in quarrels, you get to understand yourself better, because for every good thing, there is the other side of it. For every bad thing, there's also the other side. So everything comes with its own good and bad side. You understand? But I'm not saying that couples should just plan to quarrel. You understand? But you can always mend things. You can always find a meeting point. You understand? You can always.
Physical. All these things
but physical, we've never had any physical quarrel.
Our voices, not physical violence. No.
Okay.
I can say that one of the things that makes our marriage to work. Number one, there's communication. You know that about that. Yes, we communicate very well. When we table issues, we discuss, we argue. You understand? But it's true. And when we quarrel mutually about family, about things, about how to keep the hope, how to run the hope. And I must say that if you ask me to your question now, I would say that even the quarrels that we had or we've been having is one of the things that has kept our marriage.
Okay.
Because after every quarrel, we get close. We settle the quarrel. You understand? Because you see, when you quarrel and you settle, both of you become fresh. You see, when you quarrel, you settle, then you start again. You understand? So it has helped us.
Okay.
You understand? Every time we quarrel, well, you see, we have never allowed our quarrels to get to physical level. You understand? And that's not our making. That's God.
Okay.
God did that. You understand? And over time, we get more mature as we grew up, and now things are even much better than they were then. You understand? We now get to understand ourselves better. Do you understand?
Well, just like he said, communication is very, very important. Couples should communicate, discuss. If you have to argue it out, and then arrive at a convenient point.
Okay.
If you want to go into any project, you must discuss it before you start, and then you go about it carefully and prayerfully.
Okay.
And then, just like you said, after each quarrel, you get to know yourselves better, and then you understand each other better. That, oh, this person doesn't like what I have done, and he's, just like I said, he's a more matured person.
Okay.
And he makes sure that you round it up quickly, so that there are times you want to keep things away from the children. You don't want them to know that you people and at loggerheads and all that. So you just, just forget everything. And, I must say that apart from being caring and loving, is somebody who doesn't give up easily.
Okay.
And then when he wants to do anything, and don't bother to discourage him, because he will still go ahead. And in most cases, with God on his side, he will achieve that. And apart from that, there are so many nice things about him, not because we are on air,
Okay.
but I must also say that we do quarrel a lot. We quarrel a lot. Naturally, we are not from the same parents, even if we are from the same parents. So he's coming from his own background, I'm coming from mine.
My wife is a good organizer. And I must say that that our family, our home stands today. I think God has used her tremendously to make the home. She's, and that, she says she's tough, but that toughness is helpful to the family and to me in particular. Yorùbá máa ń sọ pé wọ́n ní dada ò lè jà, so I know my wife, is yes, she's somebody who is also very determined. She's determined when she wants to do anything. When we want, as even anything that has to do with the family, she's very, very. She's committed. She commits herself to it. You understand?
Okay.
And most times, I think I must, like I said, she has been very, very helpful to making the home what it is today.